We awake now.
Woo! Y'all don't know, man. If you don't know now, you know. Me and my brother, Dr. Damon, have been taking a break, man. We appreciate everybody that's been following up. Like, yo, is the podcast thing still going on? I mean, my barber even hit me today, like, yo, man, what's going on with y'all's podcast? I'm like, yo, we had to get some things in order, but me and my brother is still working, and I'm so grateful that Dr. Damon said, yo, we gotta hook up with Mac Woods because you know he got a new album that's gonna be dropping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we got to hear the most amazing and dynamic work that I think pieces of art that I think that I've ever heard, bro. From a poet, from different artists collabing on a project that brings something that's amazing. So if you don't know Mr. Mac Woods, he is an actor, he is an author, he is a poet, he is an educator. My brother has done things with financial literacy. He lives to edify and educate brothers on everything in regards to empowerment and helping us evolve as beings of excellence. So, brother, thank you for joining us as we get down. Let's go.
Man, my pleasure, my pleasure. It's an honor to be amongst you kings. Always an honor, man. I see y'all as my brothers. So anytime I can be on y'all platform, it's a privilege. So thank you for
Most
having
Absolutely.
definitely,
me.
man.
Thank you for providing this space for me to talk about my new project. I believe it's going to be something that, it's a few artists that I have high regard for when it comes to being spoken word artists and putting out actual albums. And I feel like this one is setting itself apart, and I
Absolutely.
say I say that with very high esteem for it.
Yeah.
Tell us a little background about like you moving into this space as a performer.
Well, as a performer, or you want to talk about like space of developing the album, like
Mm,
what do you mean? Because as a performer, I'll have to say that I'm getting to a point where now I can do 45-minute sets by myself, and that I have to say there's not too many in my peer group that can do that.
Mm.
To be able to be a spoken word artist and be in front of an audience for up to 40 minutes, straight poems, straight delivering yourself in a manner that can hold the attention of an audience. It's not too many poets out here doing that. And so even the ones that I see in such high regard, they do sets, but it's not a lot of them doing them to the point where I can do it at damn near an hour. You know what I'm
and
saying?
everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm
And
not just talking
everywhere.
about
Yeah.
Oklahoma because I say this, and I say it often. I'm not trying to be the best poet in Oklahoma. That's just not my goal. My goal is to be world renowned. Um,
Absolutely.
and my plan is to always rep OKC, Dale City, South Side. I come from them lanes, Oak Cliff. That's where I come from, and I want to do Oklahoma City proud. But I'm not. My sights are not set on being the best in Oklahoma City. For me, that sounds like the dude that was good at hooping in high school and never did shit with his career.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? No, I'm trying to be. I'm one day I want you to see me in movies and on big, huge stages and like, damn, I know that brother. You
Yeah,
know
it's
what
You
I'm
mean
gonna
in
saying?
more
happen.
movies?
I
Yeah,
You
want
mean
it's
to
in
gonna.
more
be.
movies?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to be at that point. You know what I'm saying? I want to be. One thing that I have in mind is like, uh, um, Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Amari Hardwick. Being able to do poetry and do movies and do film and TV and still have a love for poetry and still put out poetry albums and such and do things like that. Like I want to do it all. I want to do philanthropy. I'll still do community outreach. I'm claiming it. I'm claiming it. When God bestows on me the blessing to make it big on the red carpet, I'm still be very involved with financial literacy, professional
Absolutely.
development, programming for minorities, for grants and scholarships, all of the stuff that I love doing now, I will still do when I make it big. When I make it big,
Right.
I'm claiming it. but
Absolutely.
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm in a great space right now with spoken word. To answer your question, I feel
That's
like when it
beautiful.
comes to sets, I wouldn't say mastered, because a wise man knows that he knows nothing at all. So I'm going to continue to learn and continue to build my craft. But I do sets, and I do sets well now. My next thing this year is I want to do slam poetry. I want to get into some of the contests. It's a realm that I haven't tapped yet, and really I didn't have any interest in it, because it's a space where you have to have a poem that's 3 minutes or less, and I just wasn't interested in rushing it. I wasn't interested in that type of competition. My type of competition is, if we're in a feature event situation, I want to be the coldest motherfucker to touch the stage. But me being graded on me being scored on my emotion, you know what I'm saying? Me being scored on a sensitive topic, and I might do a dad poem, and you're gonna score me on it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
yeah,
I just wasn't interested in it. But now I had some poets that are slam champions nationally, and they told me, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Come on over and get in this lane. You know what I'm saying? That kind of gave me the battery pack in my back to, like, all right, let me check it out. Let me
That's
go on
dope.
over here and see what we're talking about.
It sounds
bro,
like you've been giving yourself permission to expand.
Yes, sir.
absolutely.
Yes, sir. That's the mindset that I had. I want to expand my craft. It's like, you're pushing it. You feel good about where you're at, and you don't want to be complacent. You want to be forever evolving. And so I believe that trying to dip my toe in the well of slam poetry in that competition realm will be the next step for my pen. And so
That's
I'm
dope,
gonna
man.
take it in 2023.
So tell me about Pressure Cookers. The title of it, where did it come from, what inspired it?
So Pressure Cookers comes from some phenomenal brothers that I met before. They run a whole movement called Modern Manhood. I don't know if you heard about them. But I don't know if you heard about them brothers. They're doing some dynamic shit out here. But basically, we were having a conversation before, when I had the honor to be on y'all's podcast before. And what happened was, we had a discussion on, like, how black men are like boiling pots, and with the whole mindset of the top that's over us, boiling, right? And a lot of times we don't have these safe spaces to vent. We don't have even no one makes the black man feel comfortable enough to share their emotions and their feelings. So we keep it just boiling pot, and we know what happens when a pot is boiling and that top is on there. Usually it's gonna blow, explode, and spill over. And usually when it spill over, it's not gonna be nothing nice. And
absolutely.
I see that when it comes to a black man, we don't have those safe spaces. Either become something violent, or we're not able to pour our passions and our anger and our emotions into safe spaces and into directions and in environments that's going to be conducive to how we feel, or even conducive to us healing.
Right.
So that's where it came from. Our last conversation, man. And from there, that had to be like the beginning of the year, something like that.
This was Daddy's Girl conversation with
Yes.
Daddy's Girl. Yeah.
So what was that? Was that the beginning of the year, like November, December?
I believe that was the beginning of the year. No, because
Okay.
Damon, yeah, man. So that was like early this year.
Okay, so at the beginning of the year,
crazy.
we had that conversation. I was like, I want to do an album completely around this topic. And what's funny is I had the idea to do a second portion of my last album that I released in 2021, and it was going to be the second part of Blacker Than Shakespeare's Ink, The Diary of the Nostalgic Kid, Part 2. But a lot of that material is more material that's like it's, of course, it's still dynamic topics, it's still deep stuff, but it's more it wasn't conceptual. It was more just different topics that I wanted to speak about. Pressure Cookers, the whole album is about black men dealing with their emotions and somehow and trying to figure out that duality of subconsciousness, that duality of double consciousness, the duality of sectionality, dealing with being a father, a veteran, everything that we have to go through, and then not having any safe spaces. So from our conversation, it stemmed into a whole album,
Aspects of
and
manhood.
literally, it's a few that are older poems that I end up love the concept, but I rewrote, and a lot, but then a lot of them. Looking at the track list now, a lot of them are just brand new poems, and my whole mentality around it was I wanted all male features because because even the singers on this, I might have pinned like the direction I wanted them to go into, but I gave them the free will to like, hey, do what you want to do on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Phil Lee on Peace, track 4. I gave him, kind of like a blueprint of what I wanted him to sing about, but I basically was like, look, do what you want to on it. Just kind of stay in the realm of this is the concept. And he did his thing on it. I didn't want to like put any barriers around the artists that are featured on here. I just wanted to be like, okay, this is what I'm speaking about on this track. And I'd really appreciate if you kind of stay in this lane, but use your gift how God gives it to you.
Yeah, talking about showing within this project the allowance of black men to show up authentically.
Yep.
It's just at the root of the work that you do.
Like
it's beautiful.
So when I explain the sessions, shout out to Jasmine Sullivan, her album Hotels. So when I heard it, I happened to be listening to it a lot early this year. And then we had the conversation, right? So when she was having her session parts where the women were giving these really blunt, detailed excerpts about their experiences being a hoe, I was like, I love the concept of just being open and honest like that.
Yeah.
And at first, I everyone that was doing a session, I was gonna give a mock name on it. So I wanted you to be totally free of what you say and don't worry about any backlash.
Yeah.
But everybody that submitted a session was like, "Nah, I put my name on it. I stand by what I said." So I appreciate all you brothers, including David, that submitted a session and was like, "Nah, I put my name on it because I stand by what I have to say." And so I appreciate that, just being able to be like, "Nah, I stand behind what I said, and go ahead and put my name on your track." I appreciate it. I love y'all for that. Now, when it comes to all the rappers, same thing. I was just like, look, bro, this is the lane, but I want you to deliver your complete honesty on it, and with the sessions, like I said before, CL, he wanted to kind of rap on it. He had a rapping cadence. And I said, no, bro, this is like a session with a counselor, with a therapist, damn near barbershop talk. I want you to be blunt as hell. I want you to be, if you need to curse, if you if you need to get real grimy with it,
right.
language, do what you need to do for it to be honest and for it to be real for you. And shit, man, I think everybody hit it out the park, man.
Yeah, it was fire, bro. It was awesome to see all of these different creative minds come together, artistic minds come together. Especially the crazy part is we all hang out, you know what I'm saying? And we had these conversations.
Yeah.
But you made space for us to put everything that we do creatively in our normal setting when we are discussing our vulnerabilities, when we discussing our barriers, our struggles, and sometimes the highlights. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's the prideful moments that we know we ain't doing right. We ain't always doing right, but we've normalized the idea of getting by because it's what feels right in life. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah,
When we
and
listen to,
and you know we operate as machines. You know,
yeah.
even the whole title of like black men are like pressure cookers. So right,
Hmm.
so just to break that down, uh, a pressure cooker is a sealed cooking vessel. Right, it
Right.
uses high pressure to increase the boiling point of the liquids. This allow food to cook quicker with less water, less energy than like standard cooking methods, right? But this cooks food faster, but it's way more dangerous and
Mm,
way different causes for explosions. And the
yeah.
types of food, the is different causes for explosions, different types of food that go in it, inadequate venting, and it actually says on the description inadequate venting, which is a great parallel
Whew.
to black men having inadequate spaces to vent and to release their emotions, right? And so it releases pressure in unsafe ways. And it
Yeah.
says that you can cook up to heats of 250 degrees, but right at that 250, you can also explode. So the parallel to that is the anomaly is just because you can handle it does not mean it's healthy.
Right.
So, black man, when's the last time you check your heat gauge? When's the last time you check your PSI? Because just because you can operate at that level, constantly doing for others, holding in your emotions. You know, we go through
Hmm.
death of family members, death of parents, go through
Yeah.
separations from spouses, and all these different changes that you're dealing
Man.
with, all the different things that you deal with, and you're keeping it bottled up.
Hmm.
Just because you can handle it doesn't mean it's healthy. And
Right.
so going off of our last conversation really put me in the mode of this is what I want this project to focus on.
Yeah. And the thing about it that I think about too, for those who do want to release it and do know how to do want to let go, don't know how. You know what I'm saying? You got energy that's trapped in your body and you feel the depression, you feel the anger, you feel the rage or shame or guilt. And we don't even know how do I let this go? Like, how,
Yeah.
what do I do with it?
And
Yeah.
that's why I wanted the sessions to feel like a therapy session, because I want to pull to the forefront of how important it is for black men to have professional counseling, going to a professional therapist. And so much kudos to you because you did your thing, Mr. Future,
Appreciate you.
Dr. Cole. You did your thing on it. So having you as my therapist and showing, the very first track, the intake, shows that struggle of a black man, me, coming into a therapy session, being very um what's the word? Being an asshole, being very resistant,
Aggressive.
aggressive,
Yeah.
and resistant to the process. And when
Hmm.
you ask the question of, well, who are you blaming? So it's your fault. It's not
Right.
your fault. You're not taking any responsibility for your actions.
Right.
When you put that on a people, or a man that has been going through life operating, and yes, we may be taking care of other people, but the emotions and how we deal with our emotions, sometimes we don't own responsibility for
Hmm.
how we're releasing, how we're venting, or how we're
Right.
dealing. We take less ownership on how we're dealing. And
Yeah.
so the intake was very important. You did your thing on there as my therapist and asking the right questions. And I want to put it out there. I didn't write anything for D Cole. I asked him to bring his authentic intellect of what he studies to the table, and I think he killed it, from intake to processing to the last one, track 19 change. That was all D Cole. He did
I
that.
appreciate that. Appreciate that.
You know, it's a phenomenal work, and I love how, like, even right now, you're speaking to a lot of us, especially men, and then more especially black men, have this. We have this thing where we characterize our resistance as resilience.
Yeah.
And they're not the
Ah,
same.
Mm.
that's a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bar.
We really do.
Yep.
It it speaks, your work in this space really speaks to that. And it's something that I know is going to be so relatable to so many of us,
Yeah,
um, you know, whatever the span of our struggles are.
yeah, yeah,
We Society tells us that as a man, you stay on the horse and you don't get off the horse until you fall off the horse.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
if that is what if that resistance of taking care of ourselves, that resistance of honoring our needs,
yeah,
right, emotionally and spiritually,
yeah,
and personally, if we can't get to that place, it's not so much a show of our resilience and our ability to keep going.
yeah,
It's a disservice to us, and in that same way to our families and our communities. And that your
Facts.
work really speaks to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it because the whole mentality around and D Cole, he actually asked that question in track one, um concerning, well, if you don't take care of yourself, who's gonna take care of your family, or who's going to take care of the things that you pour yourself into, because at the end of the day, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your family. But then my
Right.
response is, well, take care of yourself. Well, as a man, as a black man, I do what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And what does self-care look like for a black man? What does self-care look like? You know,
Having a
uh,
family taken care of, despite the emotional state that governs a lot of our actions.
right?
You know what
It,
I'm
it, it
saying?
it never looks like us really paying attention to our emotional stability. It doesn't look like us enjoying ourselves. It doesn't look like us going after our dreams, our career ambitions. It doesn't look like that. It looks like
Yeah.
taking care of our family and making
Yeah.
sure that even some type of legacy or something is left after we leave our life of
Hmm.
just working to bare bones. That's what it.
Listen,
That's what it looks like.
it's just like the pressure cooker. You getting the job done, but you are not nourishing your soul. And as that pressure cooker goes, it's cooking out all the nutrients anyway.
Yep, it's picking all the
That's
nutrients out, out anyway, and you cannot pay attention to it, and it'll get the job done. But you're cooking all the
and how it
nutrients out.
comes.
Matter of fact, like even if you have a good stew, the stew is good. It might hit flavor wise, but when you look at the color of the carrots, when you look at the color of the
Mm,
celery, when you look at the color of the vegetables, they don't have any color anymore. Everything is brown now because you cooked all the nutrients out of everything.
yeah,
You
all the
know,
life is gone.
all the life is gone because you
Hmm.
kept that pot, you kept that top on the whole time. So yeah, you might be able to put a pot roast in a pressure cooker or whatever. You come back 8 hours later, and it might be smacking because it took care of the job. It got the job
Yeah.
done. But you took all the nutrients out of the food.
Yeah.
What I really think that these different tracks will be able to resonate, from being promiscuous
Hmm.
to not knowing how to vent, to dealing with all the ills of the world, coming from different perspectives of everything outside of the house. Um, One thing that I really wanted to do, and we can have a conversation about oppressor. Oppressor deals with a black man, a homosexual black man coming out to his father, and I actually wrote this dang near 2 years ago, and had a
Mm,
conversation with Asa about it 2 years ago.
wow.
And as an ally, I said, man, I want to perform this, and I don't want to put no disclaimer on it. I want to go to Dope Poetry on Wednesday. Shout out to Jay Wig,
Yeah.
and I want to perform this, and I'm not going to put a disclaimer on it. And Asa was like, black man, don't lynch yourself like that. He said, don't lynch yourself like that. He said,
Mm,
because he said, I appreciate you being an ally, but even though you're not homosexual, people will take it and run with it. And for me, it was like, I'm so comfortable with my sexuality.
yeah.
Like, I don't, I'm doing it because, I grew up with men who were homosexual, and like my uncle, close friends of mine, and you know, I feel like if you really love someone, then you share a little bit of their hurt when they're hurting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to grow up with black men that were shunned in the black community for who they love,
Yeah.
then I feel that pain too. Because how you gonna be pro black, but you're homophobe to your people?
Right. Right.
How do you be pro black when when you're
Man,
discriminating when you're discriminating other people of your people? How can you be
that
pro black and say
it's
you
one of
hate
those things.
men?
It's one of those things where it's like until you see me, when you look at me, there'll always be division.
Yeah.
It'll always be that way.
Yeah. So he told me 2 years ago, don't do this poem. And when it came time to do this album, I said Oppressor has to be on this poem, on this album, because it speaks to black men. It may not totally resonate
Yeah.
with a straight man because he's not homosexual and he's never had these desires and he's never had this situation. But everyone has been unfairly judged before.
Yeah.
So when you
Absolutely.
listen to Oppressor, you a straight black man can connect with that part of it. You know, or having someone
Powerful.
that you love judge you so harshly, and there's nothing that you can do about it. I feel like anybody that's connecting on a humanity level can feel that. You know, so
Absolutely.
and then I have Rod Porter on there. He came through singing his ass off. He did his thing. Shout out to Rod. Conscious Lee. Y'all don't know George Lee, man. Phenomenal, killing it on social media, and he talks from everything from transgender equalities to subconscious bias to covering
Mm-hmm.
anything popular in pop culture. He's just a beast when it comes to debate culture. It just a dope individual. He's big time already. He got Cardi B retweeting his quotes and stuff. He a beast.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I have him talking directly to black male privilege. And even me as a DNI expert, when I talk about black male privilege, they get crickets in the room because they don't understand that in some instances, the straight black man is like the white man in America. Because in our own sect, in our own community, we as straight black men judge others so harshly. We judge other men who are not that masculine.
Right.
We judge our women harshly.
Right.
Harshly. You know, we judge so many different people that are not the stereotypical strong masculine black
Mm-hmm.
men. We do that. So the whole oppressor is the straight black man oppressing our own people. And
Right.
Conscious Lee gives a lot of great narrative in track 16 with that.
I'm gonna have to
You
check that
know,
out.
Yeah.
you
And
you
shout out to Asa because
go ahead.
Asa gives me the alley oop on track 15 with Asa's session going directly into talking about the duality of being homosexual and black and being a man and the frustration and the struggle of dealing with your own people who are supposed to be your family but shunning you for being homosexual. And Asa kills his session.
Man,
I was
bro, this
actually
is
just
so
gonna say
dope.
that, man. What you've done with this work is you've been able to stack so many levels of experience, right? That are so very personal, and at the same time universal for so many of us,
Absolutely.
and actually brought it in a medium that speaks with such a depth and intellect, but it's a dope vibe though.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I was trying with my very first album. I wanted to be something that had replay value, you know, because I'm sure all of us, you know, we love literature, we love something that's well written. So when it comes to bars, we love to hear the bars. We love to hear someone on the mic that really has something to say. But at the same time, you have to be, it has to sound good to the ear sonically.
Yeah.
So I could have been having bars on here. I could have been feeling like I was writing my ass off. But at the end of the day, you could have only listened to it once and was like, man, he killed that. And you only listened to it once.
Right.
But with it being sonically pleasing, you could listen to some deep shit over and over because it's sonically pleasing.
Right.
And I'm really big into music. I grew up on the blues. So a lot of it, with the guitars and the strings and all of that and the samples, I had to put that flavor in it. I'm definitely an 80s kid, 80s born, 90s kid. But I came up under listening to Etta James and Bobby Blue Bland and Commodores and BB King. And so I came up on that Temptation. So I had to put that vibe in my music. But I also definitely tried to tap into hip hop because I love hip hop. So I had to have those vibes in there too. And CL, I was getting on his nerves because
all original.
Well, yeah, all original.
Yeah.
Like from every single track on here. It's funny what you learn about yourself in your 30s. So I helped organize all of these tracks. CL likes to give me the kudos of he was just punching the buttons, but I knew where I wanted to hear everything, and I didn't know I had an ear for music like that until last year when I did my first album. I said, "Excuse me, I really understand where I want everything." Like track 3, PTSD with Miss Devin. I knew where I want her vocals. I knew where I wanted to place them. I knew where I wanted to stack different things that we pulled in with the marching of the boots, with the guitar playing in the back of when I spit the Soldier's Creed. I knew everything of how I wanted to stack the music and how I wanted to hear it. And then even with CL was like, well, that don't even make sense. You shouldn't do that. I'm like, well, try it. Because that's what I'm hearing. So being able to bring to life, I mean, it's nothing like bringing to life what you hear in your head. So I'm really enjoying doing music, man.
Listen, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna tell you that I was actually really excited to hear Devin's voice in this because understanding, what your mission was with this project and how centered it is on the Black experience. I was really to hear a moment of having, a woman's voice and even particularly a Black woman's voice. And then personally, someone who, is cherished here in Oklahoma City, whose voice is
she's
so
beautiful.
She's honored, right? And so it was really nice to hear that, man. And I'm glad you did that.
Let me tell you, man, Devin gave me and CL goosebumps when she did track 3, man. When she did PTSD. So I wrote the lyrics and I said, look, I don't know anything about the construction of music. I just know these are the words and this is the instrumental. What can you do for me? In 10 minutes, bro, no exaggeration, 10 minutes, she created a 3-part harmony and it just blew our minds. She just did it right there in front of us, bro. She is a subject matter expert. She is a professional. She's a blessing every time I work with her. She just takes my vision to the next level, bro. I think I believe I had her on my first album at least 3 times. Like it should have been Mac Woods featuring Devin on my first album. Because I think I had her on like 3 tracks, man, because I just feel like to any track, she's a cheat code.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
She's a cheat code. And so if I wouldn't have had the mindset to have mostly men on this album, Devin would have been on here multiple times.
And then I seen you got Glenn and Sharita.
Yeah, so Glenn came through, and it's funny because Glenn had never did a track like this before. So me and him, we go back and forth on Peace.
Yeah.
So I love that style because it reminds me of Styles P and the Locks back in the day.
Jada.
Jada
like that.
style be going back and
Yeah.
forth. I used to love that style, listening to it as a kid. So I like when poets do it. So me
Yeah.
and Tavy has done it in the past, and I put Glenn on track 4 to do it, and he wasn't sure about it. And then I was like, look, bro, these are the gaps. Just do it. Me and CL gonna take care of it post. Just do it, man. Just trust me, bro. Just trust me. He was like, I don't know about it, man. And I was like, I know you never did it before. Just trust me, man. Me and CL went up in there. We chopped it up and stacked our vocals, and I sent him the track. He said, "Damn, bro." He said, "That shit fire." I said, "I told you."
Absolutely.
Told you, bro. And original flow. So we had the piece beat, we had the piece instrumental, and I said original flow is so dope in the sense that he is true hip hop. His voice is true hip hop, bro. And it's just like I need to totally revamp the beat, and I need it to sound like DJ Premier. I need, I need that feel. I need that. I need all of that. I need that to feel like 90s. I need to feel like 94 hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And CL gave me that. And CL blessed the track with exactly what I wanted to hear, and I heard it in my head. And then Flo sent his sent his verse back, and I said, "Damn, bro, you exceeded my expectations. You exceeded my expectations." And then Phil Lee, I mean, the thing about Phil Lee, for me, Phil is a cheat code too, because he can take some deep content and present it in a way that's gonna resonate on radio. Like for me, anything Phil do sounds like a dope radio hit. But when you listen to the lyrics, he talking about some real shit.
Right.
But the vibe of it, he gives everything that vibe that's like, oh, that's a hit. So I needed his voice. I needed his voice on there.
Love it, man. All right, so you got to tell me more about my favorite track.
Okay.
The greatest, man. Which one?
My favorite track is Guess. And don't say Guess.
Look, I'm about to look through the track list right now, bro.
I mean, if I was you, I'd be like, it's the one with you on it. But
no. You know me better than that. But I'll tell you, and I love that track, and thank you for that. But I'm gonna tell you, my favorite track was Greatest Show.
That's what I just said. Yeah.
You said Greatest Man. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I know my favorite track is Greatest Show.
Okay. So you and I know both of y'all study the mind and body and spirit. So I feel like that was gonna resonate with you guys. And I hope people tap into that. I'm talking the 3 personalities. Id, ego, and super ego. And the thing about it is, if you pay attention to what I'm saying, it flows right into the definitions and flows right into how they affect each other. And then that then coincides with what the black man is going through. Right?
Yeah.
And so the greatest show for me is we are black men on tight ropes. And we have everything going on around us, from the animals, from everything, everyone that's pulling for our attention, for us having to pour into jobs that maybe we don't care about. Of course, police and then us killing us, and us having to have this bravado all the time. And so how heavy that is, and then how we have to stay on this fine line.
Yeah.
One of the lines that I say is Hulk hold again. This NWO, niggas without any heroes, just a whole bunch of stone cold bish-offs, overtaking, undertaking, stripping and stripping you of your gold. See, you can be incarcerated in cells of hell, and the only mankind that's kind to you is watching for pure entertainment. So you can be light-skinned with good hair and still get played by the nation, and you don't have to get hit with the rock bottom when you're born there. And just playing with the WWF nuances. But it's basically talking about how everyone, it seems like, we can't open ourselves up because we're gonna be ostracized for it. And anytime we try to lean on who we think are our heroes, it seems like they let us down. And having to walk that fine line is that humble shit. Fuck humble. But we have it says royally we rumble with a whole bunch of opponents because it's a lot of definitions of what a good man is. And what's the next line? And humble yourself, boy, because over the top and you're gone. Talking about the Royal Rumble in WWF. So, over the top rope and you're gone. So, when we do too much or have too much self-confidence, then we get shunned.
Right.
Then we're too cocky.
Right.
But our white counterparts, they show leadership. They show gumption. They show all of these adjectives of a leader. But when we do the same, he's not a team player. He needs to humble himself. That's why I go so hard with fuck humble, because when you go by Webster's definition, to be humble, not humility, because humility I can mess with humility more than humble.
Right.
Humility is being able to show grace. And respectable. But humble is looking at yourself in a low standard, meek or modest.
Yeah. So and it's so interesting when you think about the idea of how we praise heroes and put them on these pinnacles. You know what I'm saying? How extravagant they are, especially if you talk about a super ego. Or Freud. Even Freud in itself, for these historians that we idolize and the educators that we idolize, and you go back to see how they lived. How they create sculptures of themselves. Shoot, even the chain that you got on right now, we go to Egypt and they got whole freaking pyramids of their faces, fam.
Yep.
And we only also like idolize them because of the way that they view themselves and the impact that they were able to have. It's so over the edge. Consider, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can see that.
Yeah. I just really appreciated I appreciate Greatest Show too, because at the end of the day, it's like the black man has to tap dance for everyone.
Right.
We have to be the machine for everyone. And we don't get enough respect or admiration for it. And so the Greatest Show is us tiptoeing on this wire line while all this chaos is going on around us, and we have to balance.
Right.
Yeah. I fucks with Greatest Show.
And the crazy thing about the Greatest Show is you can.
And the ringmaster is me. I just put an effect over my voice, so some people might not know that.
That's dope. Hey, you can put on amazing most show ever, as long as it's within the context of what needs to be going on in propaganda. Anything outside that, man, nah, bro. Cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's another story. This work is phenomenal, man.
Yeah,
this work is phenomenal.
I appreciate it. I'm pretty proud of it. So I had missed the 2022 ballot to get it in for the spoken word Grammy nominations, but submitting it after October, I can do it for 2023. So it would definitely. I'm gonna be pushing it hard. I'm gonna also try my damnedest because shout out to CL. CL is supposed to be being able to sit on the Grammy board. So you have to have someone. I didn't know this. You have to have someone like vote you in to even be nominated.
Oh wow!
You have to have somebody on the board or whatever to kind of put you on the nomination list. You can't just be out here grinding hard and get on there. You can't do that. So I didn't know that. So
a vouchment, you have to have a vouchment just to get considered.
Yep. And my thing is, I would, of course, I would love to win a Grammy. Who wouldn't want to win a Grammy? but just to be nominated,
right?
That's another thing Dr. Damon, and I'm thinking of the next step with my pen.
Right.
I think this definitely should be in the conversation of being nominated, especially if you're talking about spoken word that sounds like this, talking about this with this type of pressure.
Man, and
Like,
devotion, man. Demotion of brotherhood, talking
yeah,
about real problems that's not really publicized in a
yeah,
highlight in an effective manner and tasteful manner.
yeah.
I agree.
Yep. And shout out to Miss Sharita Renee. I got her on track 7 on Stay. I needed from a woman's point of view, I needed um that fight. I needed that aggression because it comes from an honest place. Me and Sharita, we wrote this together late 2018, and we have been performing this
I
on
thought so.
stages for like 3 years, bro. And when we wrote it, we just wanted to be really honest about relationships, about different things that like a married couple would be going through when it comes to trust, when it comes to vulnerability, when it comes to looking at the past and seeing how you develop. Like the hard thing about being in a long-term relationship and marriage is it's one thing that you're going through shit by yourself. Like, in your 20s, you evolve, you grow, you fuck up a lot, but you're learning. You have to do all that with another person who's doing all that shit too.
Sheesh.
You know what I'm saying? You're growing, you're fucking up, you're learning. You're doing all this in your 20s together.
Man.
That's a beast. That's a beast. And so we wanted to be very honest in this, and I've had multiple people listen to that over the years. I've had my wife listen to it because I wanted it to be real. I didn't want it to come off cliche, and I definitely didn't want it to come off like we was doing too much or trying too hard. I wanted to be hood enough. I wanted to be real enough. And some of the shit that we fight about, I wanted to be petty enough.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Some of the stuff that we fight about in relationships are petty as fuck, and we say some petty ass shit. But and all of that is on Stay. And then Vicious gave us the alley-oop with putting his shit on there. Vicious just came in and killed it. Like his direction with his verse is phenomenal, and it's real, and you can tell with his writing that he been through some shit.
Yeah.
Because it was very specific and like it was real. It was like, oh yeah, this brother he sounded like he wrote from experience. And I've been wanting to work with Vicious. Him and CL, they're cousins, and they're really close, and they've been getting down making music since they were like what, preteens. And so
Wow.
they were backpacking it back in the day. So to see the fruition of their careers and their love for the music, yeah, man, yeah. So I had to get him on, and so we had Stay, the original, and then you put Vicious on there, and I think it takes it to another level, man. So yeah.
Gosh. All right, so I'm going to ask you this: having finished and put this project together, having heard it in its completeness, it's obvious how passionate you are about it and how proud you are of it, and you should be. I'm telling you, for having heard it, it's phenomenal.
That's amazing.
Appreciate
What
it.
was something that kind of caught you off guard or surprised you about a track or an experience or even just a line that kind of caught you after it was all put together?
Man, that's a good one. I think maybe so Phoenix on track 3, PTSD. So me and him, that's like my writing partner. Like, as in we have an essay book coming. Hopefully I can buckle down and finish all the essays. And the essay book. It's all like vulnerable stuff that black men usually don't say, you know.
Mm.
And we met each other in basic training in 2013, and he lives in San Antonio, and we've been tight ever since then. 2013, we've been tight. He was my battle buddy, and we've been tight ever since we met
That's
in
dope.
basic training. And but he's also he came up as a rapper, and he used to open up for big groups in San Antonio. So he quit rapping and focused on writing, and now he's a playwright, writing mocks for sitcoms, trying to get into the game. He has put out his second book now, so author, really digging into community outreach, really big into assisting brothers in juvenile centers. That's his passions. And what he delivered on track 3, I wasn't like surprised of all of the content, because like, oh yeah, I'm a black soldier, I know what you've been going through. But the way that he flips the words, it hit me a little different hearing him spit it, because it's like that's the shit I was going through as a black soldier. And hearing it eloquently put, even when Damon, when you talk about yours on track 2, it's the soldier shit hits a little hard, because it's like you serve, like I say in PTSD, serving a country that never served you.
Mm.
And giving your life, even if you didn't even get an opportunity to go overseas, you give your time. They take the hell out of your time, and that's time away from your family, time away from your friends. You miss you when you sign up for the military. I think everyone underestimates how much of a chunk it's going to take out of
Right.
to be with your family and do other things that you have passions for. It takes a big chunk of that out, man. And just thinking about what the Army took away from me, that shit was unsettling to me. So I think the Army talk was the most that kind of hit me in the gut. Was that yeah. Also Superman.
It's a great song too.
Even though that's that's just me by myself, going back and listening to the track was shit. Parent Trap too, though. Parent Trap with my homeboy Calvin J. He's a poet out in Dallas. Me and him did that track last year for his, and then we revamped it and put CL on there, and so I think that came out great.
So dope, man.
With me and Calvin, when we did that, man, it was all about, let's talk about how our parents have affected us in the relationships that we have now. And they say, when you become an adult, you recognize the sins of your parents. But you also, as an adult and a parent, now you recognize that they were just learning and they were trying.
Right.
So it's kind of more back to the humanity of it. It's like, when you're a young adult, you realize the sins of your parents and you blame them for it. When you're an older adult and a parent, you recognize the sins of your parents because they were just learning.
Right.
And when you give them more grace because they're just people and they were learning, right. And yourself as a parent and as a husband, you're learning. You're still learning, and you're fucking up, and you're trying to fix things, and you're not going to do everything right.
Right. Let alone them just using the tools that they have to work with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah. And so Parent Trap is a tough one for me too, because only child, me and my mom, most of all my life, just me and my mom. And I noticed the different things about her. She's the middle of 10. And so one of the lines that I say in Parent Trap is, I recognize as a mother, you love me so much with just a handful of hugs, because she wasn't really super affectionate. And then I had to learn why she wasn't super affectionate because she wasn't raised like that. So it was hard for her to open up. And now it's beautiful, man, because I see how affectionate she is with my kids. You know, so to see that full evolution, and now to see that she hugs me more. You know, at this
Yeah.
age now, her getting older, she hugs me more than she's ever hugged me. You know, her saying I love
Yeah.
you, and it doesn't come off so uncomfortable because now in her older age, she's seeing things differently and she's being more vulnerable, man. Because you know, vulnerability is strength. You know, we always try to couple as a
Yeah.
society vulnerability as weakness, but think of all the people that we look up to, you know, from MLK to Malcolm X to Tupac. These are really
Yeah.
vulnerable people
Yeah.
that we admire as really
Absolutely.
strong people, but they were vulnerable, and that's the strength in it. And so, like going back to my mom, seeing how open she is to the emotional stuff now, being able to talk to her about certain things that I could never talk to her about growing up. Um, it's just it's a beautiful evolution between son and mother, and so I try to express that on Parent Trap that yes, yes, some of the things that I learned from my mom has been uh, growing pains and a negative effect sometimes even between me and my wife because I treat my wife how I learned how to have relationships from my mom, but I
Yeah.
also love in certain ways, in good ways, because of what I learned from my mom. So you know, understand the duality in that. You know, the dynamic of how now I understand why she did certain things.
Yeah.
Now I'm about to be 40 with kids and a wife. I can understand why she did certain things, how she did it, you know. And so I tried to go into Parent Trap with that. And Calvin kills it. Calvin's a beast with metaphors.
Yeah.
He stays in the pocket so well with his sports analogy. And you know, I try to do my thing on there, but Calvin is a beast on there.
Beautiful, man. Listen, if this piece is a thesis, bro,
Mm.
Yeah,
this is this is a thesis on our experience,
yeah,
and
I like it.
we thank you for it.
man,
Absolutely.
This is a
I appreciate it.
beautiful,
I
beautiful
appreciate y'all
work.
being a part of it, man.
Man,
Yo,
what are you hoping people are gonna get from it? What are you hoping people get from it?
That's something that I have kind of been expounding on more. The very first thing I was thinking of, I want it to resonate with a wide variety of types of black men.
Hmm.
But now I've been expounding that detail to I want women to really understand it too. I
Let's
want
get
women
it.
to listen to it. And that's one reason I wanted the session so blunt. I want the women to listen to it and be like, I didn't know he was going through that.
Yeah.
I didn't know I didn't know that was something that black men was going through. I didn't know they were thinking that. Oh, you know, I want that light bulb to go off because when I'm in these men sessions, when I'm in the modern manhood sessions, when
Man.
and and
Yeah, man.
and it's like 10 husbands and 9 of them have the same testimony about how they don't feel supported at home and how they can't talk to their wives about certain things and how they don't can't even find these spaces to vent when they're going through so much shit. When I'm hearing the same thing from all of the men
Man.
in these rooms, and these is like different ones because even the one that I go with I
Yeah.
used to go with Psych on Sundays,
Yeah.
these different spaces that I'm in, and all of these men have the same stories. I'm like, yes, I definitely want this to resonate with men of all kinds because I
Yeah.
believe white men and different men of ethnicities deal with the same thing. Matter of fact, I
Fact.
know they do because
Yeah.
I had a lunch with a white guy from Tulsa Community College, and we were talking about professional stuff, and he starts talking about marriage, and we damn near have a full ass counseling session in a coffee shop
I'm telling you.
3 days ago, bro. And
Hey, listen.
it's the white guy. So I know that
It's
men
universal.
is universal. So I know all of us, all of us men from different walks of life are dealing with a lot of the same issues. And so I want that to resonate with men. But I want women to be able to listen to this project and try to get an understanding. Because when we're having these discussions with all these black men, there's no women around.
Right.
So the women aren't tapping into the conversations to get an understanding of what we're going through, because we usually don't feel like it's a safe space to confide in them. So this can be our safe space. I want Pressure Cookers to be our safe space where we can give this album to our wife so she can try to understand us. You can give this to your mother so they can try to understand us. You know, you can give maybe to your older daughters so maybe they can understand their father a little more from a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what I really want from it. I want everyone to be able to tap into what the man and what the black man is dealing with. And here's our safe space. We were able to have a safe space for 20 tracks. Here it is.
That's dope, man.
Man, thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for sitting with us, man, and really giving us a chance to dive into this work and understand it and see the depths of it, because it sounds amazing. The content is beautiful and poignant and inspiring all at the same time.
Yeah.
The music is so fly. Like it's so dope. And the voices that you have in this space, like I'm not saying this because we're in it. I'm saying this because it's an amazing work. And I cannot wait for people to hear it, to experience it, and then to come back and listen to this conversation.
Yeah.
Because
Man,
it's a whole different conversation.
listen. Yeah.
Once you've listened, if you're watching this right now, you heard the album. I want you to go listen to the album and come back and listen to this and tap in with us and talk about this and share this. Tell us, Courtney, where you can find it.
So you will be able to, when I put this project out, you will be able to find it on all streaming platforms. I'm not making it super exclusive where you have to go into my website to find it or anything like that. You will be able to find it on all streaming platforms. Even if you have one of those terrible Androids, you'll be able to find it.
We are non-judgmental, inclusive Modern Manhood Foundation. I have you know that our audience members are not publicly accepted opinions of those as the massive whole. We have you know. I got an iPhone, but I know a couple friends that got an Android. You know what I'm saying?
You will be, everyone be, man. I'm making it. I want it to be out there, man. But you know, I'm really pouring money into my marketing and advertising team, and I'm trying to make a big push for this, man. I'm gonna go hard at pubbing this all year, and damn it, I want to be Grammy nominated.
Let's do it.
But you know, one thing that I really want, I want this to be able to be used in counseling therapy type of spaces. Like I want it to be a part of important conversations, because I think it deserves that. I think it's a body of work that deserves that, and I believe it can be eye-opening to people that are usually not in these spaces to hear these conversations.
Absolutely.
Now they'll be able to hear it, you know, on their phone, in their radio. They'll be able to hear the safe spaces that all these black men came together and poured their emotions and their feelings and their true, genuine, authentic experiences out on this album. And hopefully, you know, if you're taking this in, you know, you're not just hearing it, but you're listening. And you're consuming the information, and hopefully that can create other important conversations away from the project that can nurture relationships and nurture men.
It's beautiful.
Yes, it is. All right, tell us and tell everybody where they can find you personally.
All right,
they need to
all right.
contact you. They want to see your work.
Instagram is MAC, MAC _ since 1985. I post everything. I focus on my 5 brand when it comes to poetry, community service, fashion, family, and fitness. You'll get that on my Instagram. I'm trying to mess with these young people on TikTok. It's Mac since 1985 on TikTok, and of course Facebook. Mac Woods Inc. That's MacWoodsInk, and but also my personal page, Courtney Courtney D. McClain, Courtney Cordney McClain McClain, and of course on LinkedIn by Courtney McClain as well. And on all of my social media platforms, you will get the same person, because authentically I am the same. When it comes to my brand is to push self-actualization, self-love, and understanding your self-identity, as well being an execution guide. And my whole focus around that is the epitome of what Mac Woods is. So you won't get anything different from my TikTok to my Instagram, besides maybe me playing with the different platforms on what the algorithm wants. But besides that, I'm the same person, because at the end of the day, I love spoken word, and that's my outlet.
Beautiful, man. Mac, we have to say thank you for supporting this movement.
Absolutely, bro. Seriously.
Man, it's all love, man. Anytime I can support, anytime I can come to another workshop. I'm in Tulsa now, but I'll be on I-44 all the time.
Man, hey, Bump humble, man. He lucky to be on our platform, bro. Congratulations, bro. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing space with us, bro. For always putting on for us, man. For being a great man, for being a vulnerable man, and expressing deep, parts of you that people don't know about, and being able to do it unapologetically, man. We respect you in that manner. We thank you for that. What I'm saying? Because of the platform that you've created, man, you give, especially for men, you give us a reason to live another day. You know what I'm saying? There's some of these manhood meetings that people don't know about, where we see guys who said, literally, bro, I woke up today with the piece next to my head, and I really contemplated taking my life today. You know what I'm saying? And it's because we have shared these space where people have been vocal enough to say, bro, listen, we've been there. You know what I'm saying? Let's really have a conversation. So if I leave you guys with anything, I say go out, get this brother's project. I promise you, you will not regret it. And I'm not just saying that because we were on it, but it's an amazing project. After I heard you,
I'm planning for November, and I'm planning for November.
I'm going to listen to it over and over and over, so I have it memorized by November. Because everybody's verse that I heard Wiggs, and I said, bro, I hit Wiggs up like, yo, this was nuts. I hit Nitro like, yo, Ace,
and that's Wig, he was witty with his session, but that was all real shit.
Yeah,
he talking about a real relationship, and so it's witty, and it's funny, and it's definitely showing his personality. But all this shit is real, and I want people to understand that everything on here is real. Like we weren't in a room writing just to be writing.
Right.
This shit real. So I think the authenticity comes across very well too.
Facts.
You don't know how much this is gonna hit, bro.
Yeah.
Man, I'm praying it hits. I do believe in how good it is. I just need the right people to hear it. Like
it will. Listen,
like
man. Look, you got everything is moving the way it need to move. You're already being put in position, so let's speak like it's done. All right.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes,
There's a quantum field out there that's listening to you right now. That quantum field that said, are we hoping? What we gotta hope for? It's a done deal.
Is he gonna claim it yet?
Yeah.
Is he gonna claim it yet?
It's claimed.
Yeah, you got somebody
nominated.
On the board. Somebody's on the board of the Grammy. Like if God ain't moving no more than that, you just you know what I'm saying? Come on.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead and post the flyer. Pressure kicker. Let's go. For those who want to know,
I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to do like a listening party or something like that.
Like an
I
event.
want to do something where I can get all the men in one room.
Bro, that's so sick.
And then have brothers on a panel where we discuss it.
Man, we got to get a cigar lounge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it being live streamed too.
That'd be so fire,
Checkmate, nigga. You are what time, circumstance, history have made you, certainly, but you are also much more than that. So are we all.